Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Elite City Podcast. Uh, Before we get started, first and foremost, welcome back, Gina, from your hiatus, aka vacation.
Thank you so much.
How was vacation?
Oh, it was really nice. Super
Very
relaxing. The weather was awesome the entire week.
very
Appreciate
cool.
those you know, getaways for sure.
Absolutely. Um, did you get to watch any wrestling while you were there?
Unfortunately not. No, so I'm a little bit behind, but I did watch this week's Dynamite though.
Perfect, perfect. I just before we get started, I thought it was funny the day that you messaged all of us and was like, "Okay, we're taking off," and we're like, "Okay." uh, I just happened to be on Instagram, and as you were in the air, your favorite luchadora, Stephanie Valker, sorry, I almost just said a bad word. Uh, she landed in Philly, which was the night of the Ring of Honor pay per view, and I was like, oh no, if she signed with Ring of Honor and Gina misses it on vacation, but she,
Oh,
but she wasn't.
I
She was
didn't know
just in
that.
town. Yeah, she did a. There was like another indie show that she did a like surprise run in on.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
but all day, everyone was like, "Oh my god, she's in Philly. What's gonna happen?" And I was like, "Oh no, if Gina misses this,
Oh, I would
that
have
would."
been sad.
I
But
know.
I do think she'll appear in AEW or ROH eventually.
I
For
think so
I
too.
mean, yeah, Tony brought up wanting to bring in the woman from CMLL, so I would definitely see her
Yeah.
coming in at some point anyway.
So, starting with Ring of Honor, before we get started here, they had their pay per view last Friday, and just a quick congratulations to Mark Briscoe. I mean, everything that man's been through the past year, losing his brother, and being able to win the title 11 years to the day that his brother won his first Ring of Honor title, like that's crazy how things lined up. So, congratulations, Mark Briscoe. Congratulations, another first time champion, Billy Starks. Um, 19 years old, phenomenal. She she is the future. She will not be in Ring of Honor at this time next year. Um, mark my words. Um, and of course, Kyle Fletcher and the unbeatable Athena all kept their belts. I have a theory about Athena, um, and if you would like to hear it, I'll give it to you.
Go for it.
Sick. Um, it's I, I have a feeling that the reason that Queen Amanata lost to Billy is because she's going to be the one to dethrone Athena, and Athena will lose, and then Athena gets I don't want to say called up, but Athena goes to like AEW or um, Collision or Dynamite, and then Ring of Honor officially becomes like the first step for uh, greener AEW talent. I don't want to say developmental because they're just indie wrestlers who they're getting training on the road, but that's my opinion. Um, but I think that's going to be the play moving forward.
I
Um,
really like that idea. I think we need Athena back in AEW at some point. I want to see
yeah.
her tear the house down with so many women there. So it needs to happen soonish. I think she's
Oh
had a
yeah.
really great run as champion. She's terrific. I'm definitely not tired of her as the ROH Women's Champion, but
Agreed.
it is hard to not see her in AEW. Like her character is great, and she's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. So it would be so nice to see her wrestle Jamie Hayter,
Oh
Mariah May, and
yes.
just so many others.
Well, it's. I think that's coming. You don't sit on that.
And I mean
that
Mercedes too. We
right.
definitely want Athena versus Mercedes at some point.
This is just because I didn't really follow WWE. Did they ever cross paths in either NXT or on the main roster?
I believe they did in WWE, but they never had a long match. I think it was pretty short.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah. So, and I also think that in AEW they'd be able to wrestle a completely different style. So it would probably be
Sure.
a much more aggressive match.
Sure.
But I think maybe once, but I think it was like on Raw or SmackDown or something like that, and it wasn't a long match by any means.
Oh, so it was just kind of like I don't want to say like a one-off, but like no story behind it. Just kind of
Exactly. No
yeah.
rivalry. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. That's the word I was looking for. There was nothing really to fuel the fire. It was just happened. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Well, speaking of Mercedes, since you said you watched Dynamite on Wednesday, the big question. Well, there's a lot of big questions, but before we get to the biggest question, the first big question is who attacked Mercedes? Do you have any theories?
So initially I thought it was Sky Blue.
That's a good one.
I figured that it made sense because if Julia retains the TBS championship at Dynasty, then she'd wrestle Mercedes. And Mercedes right now is kind of calling her out and calling Willow out.
Right.
So I feel like Sky Blue would be that protective friend. But then I started looking at some posts online, and someone pointed out that uh, Chris Statlander's interview took place in front of
Yeah.
in front of the room where Mercedes had her interview, and so that would be really interesting, and that would make sense. And Chris Statlander's been dressed in she's been dressing in black for a while now,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's kind of a sign of the dark side. And I personally don't see Stokely as a babyface long term. He's a heel, you
Oh
know.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that it would be really interesting if it ends up to be Chris Statlander, because the way I could see it unfolding is that when it's revealed that it was her, or if it ends up being her that attacked Mercedes, then Willow would find out and she'd ask her, well, why did you do that? I didn't need you to do
Right.
that. And Chris would try to justify it. And then you have the Chris Statlander Willow rivalry, which is something that we've been expecting for a little while now. And I'm actually really happy that they've been taking their time with it, because
Yes.
as soon
I'm
as you
sorry.
think that Chris is going to turn on Willow, it doesn't happen. And
Yeah.
they're taking these like really great pictures together and they're all friendly. So there's kind of, I guess, there's maybe part of us that feels like, okay, this friendship will continue for a while. So it would be interesting for it to happen when we don't expect it.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's funny that you said that because I think the exact opposite. I think Willow is the one that did it, and they are gonna. I still think they're going to be heels, but they're going to be a heel team with heel Stokely, uh, and they're just like it's all going to like come together, and it's going to be evil Willow and evil Statlander, and like everybody knows their personalities, Statlanders and Willows. So I think if you keep Stokely with them, like you said, he's a natural heel. As as their voice, I think he would be awesome as a heel. Like no more jokes, no more none of that. Just straight to the throat all the time. Almost yeah, like just like a Bobby Heenan from back in the day. Just let him do a majority of the talking. I don't know. That's my opinion.
That's something I also thought about. It's just that Willow is so over as a babyface.
True.
I wonder if it's necessary to turn her babyface right now. But on the other hand, it would be a really good twist.
Yes.
So I'm for either Chris or Willow. I think either one would be really cool. And since Mercedes, I mean, my guess right now is that Willow will win the TBS title at Dynasty. That's what I'm thinking. And
I
then
think so too.
yeah, just because she already has history with Mercedes, and Mercedes is still hurt that she got injured in that match and that she wasn't the first NJPW Strong Women's Champion. So I think
Right.
this would be fitting if Willow wins the belt and then she drops it to Mercedes. But of course, in that situation, you would need one of them to be heel, and I don't see Mercedes as a heel right now. So
Right, she's
Willow
too
would
over.
make more sense. Yeah.
Yes. Now there is a curveball in this whole situation. There's a section of the internet that thinks it could be one of the ladies from Stardom. Now, I followed kind of who she was feuding with over there. What do you feel about that?
It
If
would
they
be
were,
cool, but I feel that would be too soon. Maybe if it was closer to Forbidden Door,
that's true
it
too.
would
Good
make
call.
it would make more sense to me. I just don't see the point of doing that now. It's too early and there are two pay-per-views coming up, so what's the point? It would make sense if it was someone from the AEW roster.
True.
But considering how much I love Stardom, I wouldn't hate that. I love that they're bringing in the Stardom girls every week. It's awesome. I mean, and the partnership has only lasted for about 2 weeks, and we're seeing these ladies
Right.
so regularly, which is nice. I would definitely not be opposed to it. I just think that there would be more of a story to tell when it's someone like Willow or Chris.
Yeah, I agree. It was that is just as you said, like I don't think that is a um it's a good problem to have for them, like if they would just use somebody from Stardom, but I would rather them keep it in house for now. Uh but yeah, like what a problem to have. There's only a whole entire women's federation that you can pick and choose from.
It's
Like
so amazing.
it is. Um okay, so uh, now the other big question of the week was which obviously it destroyed the internet, which Tony Khan decided to release the Jack Perry CM Punk footage. Well, the Bucks decided, we're going to put that in quotes, the Bucks decided, but it's I mean, I'll start. I absolutely loved every second of it. I thought it was awesome. Uh, for the sole fact, it makes 100% sense. Now, if you take Jack Perry out of this situation, um, just say Punk went and screamed at Bill Smith backstage, who's on the ring crew. There's no reason to. You can't turn that into anything. That's just stupid. But if you do this, I mean, the numbers don't lie. Jack Perry his shirt is sold out. Like that hasn't happened. If we're talking about metrics here, that hasn't happened since CM Punk returned. Like Pro Wrestling Tees physically ran out of shirts. A shirt company ran out of shirts. Like that, like the day before, nobody cared about Jack Perry shirts, but the scapegoat shirt blew through the roof. What a marketing tool. Now, my other absolute genius part of this is the one thing that nobody is talking about is WWE after an amazing WrestleMania weekend. Like I don't give them a lot of credit, but I didn't watch it, but they delivered, and a lot of people who watched it said they really delivered. But what's everybody talking about? AEW, and good or bad, they're dominating the internet traffic, to say the least. And I think that is pretty impressive for just somebody releasing a 15-second clip of security camera footage on their Wednesday evening show at a random time. Like they really controlled that whole narrative and the whole media cycle during WrestleMania, or well, post WrestleMania, I should say. And I think I don't think they could have done it any better. That's my 2 cents. So
Um,
I would
yeah,
like to
I
hear your
mean,
2 cents.
yeah, sure. On the one hand, I didn't think it was really going to change people's perceptions on Phil Brooks and the Young Bucks and AEW. I feel like whoever supported Punk before would have still supported him after seeing that clip, and whoever supported AEW before, it would have been the same thing. However, I do think that it at least showed that Jack Perry didn't do anything.
Correct.
He didn't deserve any of that. He didn't initiate anything. He wasn't aggressive whatsoever. I think that this shows that yes, he actually is a scapegoat. Uh,
Yeah.
People had their own theories. They said Jack Perry got aggressive. Jack Perry hit him back. He didn't do any of that, and that clip proved that. Um, and I think that it was really unfortunate that he was the one that ended up, I guess, getting most of the criticism online. Not that there wasn't criticism about CM Punk, but
Right.
people were saying, "Oh, Jack Perry deserves to lose his job" and all this nonsense. And I always thought that was ridiculous. I don't understand why he would have lost his job. He didn't get physical, and then you have the argument that, well, he probably said something that really upset Phil, and there wasn't any audio, so who
Right.
knows what he said. I think that a man in his 40s should know better than to beat a 20-year-old up.
Well,
I think I thought that was really sad. I thought personally, I thought Phil looked really bad. As I said,
yeah.
I didn't
Agree.
expect his hardcore fan base to change their opinion of him, but as long as this helps Jack Perry, I'm fine with it. And from the looks of it, it is helping him, as you said.
Yeah.
His T-shirt was sold out. I think that eventually they're going to bring him back, and he will be
Oh
part of
yeah.
the elite for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
And I think that's going to be awesome. I think that it will work in his favor. Also, I didn't notice this, but he was Matt Jackson was wearing the Scapegoat T-shirt, so that's kind
Yes.
of a clue that they'll be working together. And
Yeah.
as you said, it added something to the FTR Young Bucks storyline to their match. You
Yeah.
had the Young Bucks that are airing old footage. Sorry, gosh, I can't talk. They're airing old footage and and not moving on. And then you had FTR come out saying, "Well, why did you wear that footage? We're over it." And
Right.
that's what a lot of the fans want. They want they want to get over this. They're
Right.
over the drama. They just want AEW to focus on its strengths. And so I thought it was a good way to put that all to rest. Now we could like move on from that. Because in my opinion, whether they would have aired it or not, I feel it would have been a lose-lose situation. On the one hand, you have the online community that says, "Oh, well, Tony Khan isn't transparent and he's a coward." And if they
Right.
wouldn't have aired it, "Oh, why doesn't AEW respond? What's wrong with them? They're like what a bunch of wusses." So he would have received that kind of criticism if he would have said nothing about it. And then on the other hand, you show the footage, you have Phil's angry fan base coming after you, saying you're vindictive all of a sudden and uh,
Right.
protecting their hero. So, in my opinion, Tony wasn't in a good situation either way. So he aired it. Some people liked it, some people didn't. If you didn't, that sucks, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, I saw some people say, "Oh, I'm done with AEW after
Yeah.
this." I think
That
these are
was dumb.
people that weren't watching to begin with. That's a really
Agreed.
weird reason to not continue to watch a promotion. So I don't think it really hurts anybody. Or anything. I think that if anything, it helps Jack Perry, and I think that's the most important thing because he didn't deserve any of that. I mean, he got such a long suspension, and over what, really? Because of
Right.
something he said during a pre-show? And it's not right to say, "Oh, well, he should have been fired." No, like Phil got aggressive and physical twice. You can't compare the two. Jack Perry
Yeah.
never got physical, and even if he had gotten physical one time, it would have been that one time, and he would have gotten a warning. Whereas Phil, it was twice. It was
It's
getting
true.
out of hand. So you can't compare the two situations at all. And I just want the best for Jack Perry. I think it's a really stupid situation that could have been avoided.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. Um, and before we move on, in just my random opinion on how people work, the other thing that I thought about this from the beginning is, I mean, this is just such a move. Like, it's the reason that people watched ECW back in the day, because you
Right.
didn't know what was going to happen. So even if there's just for, I don't know, say the next 2 weeks, there's an influx of new fans because they're like, oh my God, if they did that, what are they going to do next? It pays off in the long run. If it scared people away, well, then it scared them away and it didn't work. But I don't know. As soon as you tell somebody they shouldn't watch something, or somebody did something that they shouldn't do, you're drawn to it to see if they do it again. I don't know. That's just me.
That's
Um,
true, and I've seen far worse during the Attitude Era.
oh, I
They
just 1,000
they didn't,
percent.
yeah, they didn't even show what happened between Punk and Tony, and there's a reason for
Right,
that. The whole point was to show Jack Perry,
right.
because Jack Perry and CM Punk, because CM Punk is good friends with FTR, and the Young Bucks are protective of Jack Perry, so it made sense. Like, showing
Yeah,
Tony would have added
yeah,
nothing to that. And
absolutely.
as you
That
said, it really did take away from WWE's big weekend. And I'm not gonna
right,
lie, I found it hilarious because how many times have they taken AEW's momentum away when they had a pay-per-view? So it was nice
true.
that this time around everyone was talking about everyone in WWE, and he was talking about AEW instead. It was
Right.
funny. Yeah, because it's like, okay, you guys claim that was the best Mania ever, which it wasn't. But nobody's really talking about that. The majority of people are talking about what's going on in the other company.
Right. And that's what I mean. Like, if you own the other company, you don't care what they're saying, positive or negative. As long as people are talking, that's all that matters. And just like I said, people are drawn, I hate to say it, but people are drawn to the negative too. So if people go online and just see people bashing this company, like, well, then you're like, oh, well, I'm going to check that out, because I mean, if they do things to make people mad, that sounds awesome. Like,
Right.
so I don't know. Maybe that's just me again. Um, but that wasn't the only receipt that WWE got this weekend. And again, this one could have been totally avoided. And you know, when you stick your neck out on the chopping block and then the butcher strikes down on it, you really have nothing to complain about. So was it the pre-show or post-show of WrestleMania? Pre-show, correct?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think it was a pre-show. If it's a post-show, you guys can yell at me next week. Um, Triple H, without saying Will Ospreay's name, basically said that he was lazy and he didn't want to put the time and do the work. And the WWE schedule is so incredible, and you should work 9 trillion hours a week until you explode. And he said he took the easy route and he couldn't handle it or whatever. So they gave Ospreay a live mic on Wednesday, and he responded. And boy, did he ever respond. I'll let you take the lead, Gina. I know you appreciated it as much as me, so I'll let
Oh,
you
I loved it.
start.
I
Oh,
absolutely loved it. I love that he responded by saying that Triple H banged the boss's daughter,
yep,
which is why he's in that position. It was just great. Look, Triple H opened his mouth. It was
yep,
very obvious who he was referring to. He
yeah,
clearly regrets not giving Osprey a better offer. Well, too bad. So he
yep,
decided to go up there and say something petty. It was just a really shitty thing to say. And Will had every right to respond to that. First of all, he's not lazy whatsoever.
right,
Ever since starting in AEW full time, he's been there every single week. Very
yep,
dedicated to the company. His matches are always amazing. You can't miss a Will Ospreay match. They're so special because he's probably the best wrestler in the world right now, to be frank. Uh,
yeah,
and yeah, we know why he took AEW's offer, and he shouldn't be criticized for that. It's okay to want to work hard, but to also want time with your family.
yeah. There's
And
nothing
I
wrong
don't,
with that.
yeah,
Yes,
like I don't think he's asking for too much. I think that's what a reasonable human being wants. And I
and yeah,
also think that, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and if you're in that position to have a company that would honor that for you, I mean, that's easy as pie to take. Like the
Right.
other, like if you're like, hey, I want A, B, and C to do with my family, and they're like, sure, do it. Of course, you're going to take the deal. That's half the battle right there. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So he got this amazing deal. He gets paid really well. He is also able to live in the UK with his family. And Triple H knew that the main reason he wanted to be able to live in the UK is because of his girlfriend and the kid. And so it was just weak and
Yeah,
um, petty and just a shitty thing to say. And I think I was glad that Will Ospreay defended himself. And again, it's not reasonable to say, oh well, let's say Phil Brooks is allowed to say and do whatever he wants. Triple H is allowed to say and do whatever he wants. But then when the AEW wrestlers respond to it, oh, that's a problem. You don't, right? Like, you
right.
don't want to also come across as a wimp. You want to show that, hey, I am going to defend myself. That's really important. And so
Yeah,
I loved it. And also aside from what he said about Triple H, I just think he is so great on the mic. I didn't expect him to be this good. When he was in
agreed.
NJPW, he would mainly talk at the press conferences, and sometimes if he was in the main event, he would talk after the match. But he didn't have that kind of experience that an American, well, wrestler living in the United States would have, where they have to be on television every week and they have to know
Right,
where the
right.
hard camera is and they have to be good on the mic. I personally thought it was going to take him a while to transition, and he's just been terrific. His promos have been amazing.
Yeah, and just his charisma is like off the charts. He is going to be a mega star. Well, I mean, he already is, but he's going to become a household name like very soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his response was, I mean, I agree with that, absolutely everything you said. It was perfect, as in he took the high road on a few of the points, and he also took an even lower road than Triple H took on a few of the points, but it was needed. It was needed because it didn't need to be said in
No.
the first place. Like that was like I don't understand why they feel that they have to do that. Um I understand, like, supporting the brand and being all like like a team player and everything, but you can also do that like with class. Um,
Yeah.
he could have just said, "Oh yeah, they have their own thing down there. It's not our thing here, but whatever, they're doing their thing down there, and it's great." Boom. Next question. Nobody would have said anything if he
No,
said
and to add to that, he came across as a total hypocrite because he says that these WWE wrestlers, they have to work this crazy schedule, and uh, they're not out with their families as much. But okay, then explain Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and
that. Yeah,
Logan Paul, whatever his name is. Those guys are all part timers.
right.
So it's like, dude, you're like the biggest hypocrite. Oh, that means they're not hardworking. Clearly, they're lazy. He
Yeah,
should
if
say
you
that about his own talent.
I I couldn't agree more, because and you're right. Like, minus Cody, everybody in their main event was a part timer. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Literally, only Cody was the only full. Wow, that's bad. Anyways, yeah, but like, kudos to Will. I, if I don't mind if AEW responds like me and you said earlier. Uh, I don't think they have to take a shot every week, but
Yeah.
if they start to take them, and they are well planned out, then okay. But I just hope it doesn't become a every week I'm going to insult you, you're going to insult me, then we rebuttal the next week. Like, I hope it doesn't become late 90s WWF/WCW Monday Night Wars.
No, I
Uh,
agree with you. I also want to move past this footage from All In. We all saw it now. Let's not talk
Agreed.
about it ever again. And let's not mention WWE anymore. They're the other company. They're doing their thing, and AEW has its strengths. So just focus on those strengths and forget what they're doing. Honestly, who cares?
Agreed. Well, that's another great segue. Talking about things that are cool. We have a fairly new partnership between AEW and Stardom from Japan. And this past week, we had Mina Shirakawa. Sorry, I've been so nervous trying to say that name. On Dynamite this past week, along with they had a bunch of girls at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. They had a heck of a showing this week on TV. I know you've been waiting for this for a long time, Gina. So again, I will let you take the lead and I will follow up.
Since they partner with NJPW, I figured, well, since NJPW and Stardom are under the Bushiroad umbrella, why not work with Stardom? They have the best female talent in the world, and it just seemed for a while that Tony would say, "Oh, we really want that to happen, and we're working on it." I know that he wanted to bring in Julia last summer, and for some reason that didn't happen. And he wanted to work with them for Forbidden Door, but Rossi claimed that they had a show the same day. There were a lot of red flags on Rossi's part.
Yeah,
because I felt like Tony was always really eager to work with Stardom, but Rossi seems suspicious to me. I get that you have a show on the same day as, like, let's say Forbidden Door 2, sorry, but it's not an important show. Like, most of the time it would be a show with a bunch of tag matches. Why does all your talent need to be there? He could have spared a couple of his girls. And then I found it even weirder when I saw that Julia had already spoken to WWE back in November when she was under contract.
I was going to say when she was under contract. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really suspicious, and I didn't understand why she didn't talk to AEW at all. It seemed very odd to me. For sure, Tony would want to talk to her. So that was another red flag. And then I saw an article saying that Triple H wanted to work with Stardom, and I thought, well, wait a second, that doesn't make sense, right? And JPW is working with AEW,
right?
And JPW and Stardom are part of Bushiroad. Why would Bushiroad allow Stardom to work with WWE? It wouldn't have made sense. That's a conflict of interest. So that didn't sit well with me. And then he got fired. And Tony was sharing, all of those GIFs. I never know how to say it. GIFs. Where he was implying that he was a mole, right? And and although Meltzer didn't address that aspect, I was like, okay, something's going on. Like, this guy definitely helped Julia negotiate with WWE. Like, something is up. It just seemed really freaking odd. And of course, WrestleMania weekend, guess who was at the show?
Yep.
So to me, this guy is such a slime ball. He was pretty much a mole for WWE. So he was poaching his talent for WWE. It was just, clearly the guy wants a job there at some point. I hated that. I didn't like that at all. And he definitely blocked Stardom from working with AEW because ever since his departure, Stardom has been featured regularly on AEW ROH. So clearly Rossi was the problem. And I don't know what his deal was, but he didn't want Stardom to work with AEW. So, of course, I'm freaking happy right now. It's my favorite partnership. I did watch some of ROH, so I did watch the Stardom match, and they were just so phenomenal. I love the way that the crowd reacted to them. Tam Nakano is terrific. Azumi, I love her, and she's wrestling Tony tomorrow on Collision. I'm so looking forward to that match. It's going to be so good.
It's gonna be
So good.
bonkers. Oh, so good.
Yeah, and then you had Saya Kamatani, who's excellent. Micah, the current Red champion, the World of Stardom champion. And then there's a high speed champion, May, but I can't remember her last name, so I haven't seen that much of her yet. But I really loved what I saw of her in that match. So I
Yeah,
just think that it was a really good way to introduce the fans to Stardom. They had the video package before, and they got a really good reaction. And I thought that instead of being featured on AEW TV right away, why not introduce them to the ROH crowd first? So I thought the way they did it was really, really great. And yeah, and I thought that it was really cool to see Mina on Dynamite. I
that was
definitely
awesome.
didn't expect, yeah, I definitely didn't expect her to appear on Dynamite that quickly. And I just like that the past couple of weeks you've been seeing these girls on Stardom and AEW. Stardom had their show in Philly on when was it? Last Thursday. So wait, the day before the ROH pay per view,
Yeah, it was
and I
Thursday.
believe it was in Philly, right? Yeah,
Yes.
and so Mariah May was in a match, and Tony Storm came out after, and you saw Mariah, kind of stuck in the middle, like Tony's pulling her, pulling one arm, Mina's pulling the other, so you could tell she's torn. Who am I going to be friends with? And then they managed to continue that story in ROH and now AEW, which is really great to see. I'm loving that friendship triangle. It's so entertaining, and I love Mina. I think she's so charismatic. She loves the camera clearly.
Yes,
And
she does.
I love that she literally just got on TV and she already knows where the hard camera is. Like she has a lot of confidence, which is really nice to see. Not shy at all. She gave Mariah May that big kiss, which was
That
hilarious
was
to me. I was
hilarious.
laughing.
Yes.
And I know, some fans are saying, "Oh, well, uh, AEW is like using HLA to get the woman
Right.
over." No, that's not what's happening. It
Yeah.
was just like, a friend kiss, and it's Stardom. That is something that tends to happen where, uh, they give each other a peck on the mouth, either because they're taunting their opponent or because, they're just showing, hey, you're my best friend. So it's really not unusual. And you
Interesting.
know what? If this did end up being a love triangle, we have an LGBTQ community out there. What's the problem? I don't see an issue
Hey,
with that. If they decided this is a love story, that's okay by me.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no problems here. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, hey, what's wrong with that? What's
Yeah,
wrong with seeing two women kiss? On TV, it was just a smooch. Some people
right.
are really overreacting, and I
Yeah,
just
it
thought
was
it.
not that bad.
Yeah, yeah, I just thought it showed that that Mariah is going to have to make a very difficult decision because eventually she'll have to choose between Tony and Mina.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh
What
yeah,
did you
this
think?
partner. This whole partnership it's awesome. It's so much fun and it's so new and like the aspect of professional wrestling, like for there to be partnerships is weird. American partnerships. Like I know it happens in other countries, like other companies will work together, but here it's never been that way. So it's hard to get used to, but it has just been so fun to watch and so cool that just certain times of the year, like we're coming up on Forbidden Door. Um, do you think we see the ladies at Forbidden Door? Do you think Stardom or CMLL is involved in Forbidden Door?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
I think
I
so
think
too.
I think we're probably going to get Mina versus Tony Storm at Forbidden Door 3.
Oh,
That's my guess.
oh, that's gonna be so good. And
Yeah,
it's not that far away. It's only June, right? Yeah.
I know. I'm so excited. And yeah, I definitely think CMLL is going to be involved, and I would love for Stephanie to show up, even if it's some kind of a battle royal where you have the AEW talent, Stardom talent, and CMLL talent. I wouldn't mind. I just want to see them
That would be really
work
cool.
together. Yeah, or like a 6 women's tag again, where
Yeah,
it's a mix of different companies. Whatever, just give it to us.
100%, 100%. It's gonna be so good. Um, well, do you have anything to add before we go?
I'm just really stoked, and I would really love to see Starlight Kid appear in AEW or ROH at some point. I saw that she responded to one of Kenny's tweets saying, "Hope to see you at the venue soon." So I
Uh-oh,
think that's going to happen
that'll be cool.
eventually, and for sure, I would love to see Shiri in AEW or ROH. Just to fill you in, she used to be Shira's tag team partner in Japan. It would
Oh,
be, yeah, it would be really cool to see them have a tag match. And I think she's the best female wrestler in the world. So I think the fans would really love her because she uses kind of a mix of MMA and uh, I guess strong style and all these other amazing wrestling styles. She's just good at everything. And I would really love for the AEW audience to be able to see Shiri.
very cool. I want to see her. I want to look some clips up after we get off the air here.
Please do.
I will. That's what I'm gonna eat the other half of my hoagie, and I'm gonna watch wrestling highlights. Okay, so yeah, that sounds awesome. Um, well, on that note, we're gonna close up shop for the week here. So next week we have predictions for Dynasty. So everybody has to do their homework and be prepared. Thank you everybody for listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. We're at Elite City Pod on everything. EliteCityPod.com, I believe. That could be wrong. So um, that's terrible. I don't even know our own plugs. Anyways, until next week. Later.